Hello, freaks, geeks, degenerates, nerds, and basement dwellers. Welcome to the Nerd Soda. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. So, you might be wondering, what the hell is this? Well, this is actually a scene from a piece of fan fiction of mine, where we have a confrontation of sorts between Kang and Chang in the Klingon council chambers that results in Kang saving the Federation from ending up in a war with the Klingon Empire, something that Chang is after. So, if you're interested, let's have a look. And this takes place in the Kelvin universe, the beta timeline. So we have the alpha timeline where everything moves along with the undiscovered country and what have you with Chang, and then we move through that timeline up to Nero and the Narada, moving back in time, altering the timeline. We end up with the Kelvin incident, the Kelvin timeline, the beta timeline, and that moves on up to the point where Kang and Chang have their interaction in the Klingon Council chambers, and we will take a look what this is all about. So we are on Kronos, the Klingon homeworld and the capital, where we have this stage set for the Imperial gathering, not the High Council, but a gathering of the noble houses, a smaller, not as powerful council chamber, but still all the Klingon houses, wealthy, powerful, and the lesser houses as well, can partake in this gathering, this imperial gathering, and these chambers align with the banners of all different houses, and they're seated up on the in the chairs and in the booths and what have you, overlooking a center stage, as it were. So this is a gathering of the Klingon elite, all the houses, to deal with matters that may concern them all. And then the High Council is it's for matters of real importance, where only the most powerful houses are allowed to vote. But this is the Imperial gathering, and all houses, powerful, less powerful, warrior houses, merchant houses, they all have a say in these lesser dealings within the Empire. And joining in on the Imperial gathering is, of course, Kor, the Dahar Master, and his close friend in the Kelvin timeline, the beta timeline, Curzon Dax. So Curzon Dax in this timeline did not befriend Kang, first of all. Instead, he has befriended Kor and has now joined Kor to the Imperial gathering to learn what it's like to deal with Klingon politics. Curzon's goal here is to understand the Klingons, to learn Klingon society, so that he may in the end strike a deal with the Klingons for proper peace, not just this truce Cold War situation that is currently ongoing between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. And as it happens, as they're sitting here in the council, they are joined by none other than Kang. And Kang sits down with his good friend Kor. He is less impressed that the Trill is joining them, but there are some alien ambassadors spread out in the council chambers, so it's not unheard of. And they discuss recent politics and the situation, and Kang has issues with the House of Duras over some territorial disputes, and Duras is a ally of Chang, and Kang needs to sort this out, and he suspects that the Chancellor himself, Gorkon, might be somehow involved trying to set up this conflict between Kang and Duras. And so we learn through this discussion that we have plenty of battles between different houses, and this seems to be Gorkon's current policy to promote internal strife, to have the Klingons fight each other rather than fighting outwards. There's still border skirmishes left and right, absolutely, but Gorkon seems to focus on making sure that the Klingon houses fight each other in order to strengthen the Empire that way. The officers gain experience, the warriors gains experience, and the houses develop stronger ships, better guns, and more powerful shields and stuff like that, without starting a large conflict abroad, as it were. And it is at this point that the speaker of the chamber, an old, wise Klingon, gathers everyone's attention and announces that ambassadors from the Federation will address the assembly, and the Klingons, they go silent, they frown at the mention of the Federation, and watching the ambassadors of the Federation enter the chamber and walking out onto the central floor, and they now have all Klingon eyes upon them. The Federation ambassadors, they address the entire Imperial gathering over concerns for a recent attack made by Klingon warships against a Tellarite colony within Federation space close to the border with the Klingon Empire. And they seek an audience with the High Council so that they can discuss this transgression with the Chancellor and the noble houses, the great houses of the Klingon High Council, because they want to end the hostilities. They want justice for the dead, and they want justice for the families of the dead and wounded of this horrible attack aimed at Federation citizens made by Klingon warships that crossed the border and entered into Federation space. A Klingon warlord, a Klingon noble lord, he steps forward, leaving his chair, and steps out onto the floor and admits that it was his ships that committed the attack in question. And he goes on to brag about the achievements of his warriors, and that they shot down so and so many ships, killed so and so many Federation citizens, and all the bounty that they brought back, that it was a glorious and honorable raid, and the Tellarites put up a formidable battle, and there was honor and glory to be had by all. And the Klingons, they listen in on this tale of combat, hearing that the Tellarites put up a fight, and they all nod in agreement that this was indeed an honorable battle, and that the Klingon warlord, he earned the bounty that he brought home. Of course, the Federation ambassadors, they view it differently. They want justice for the victims, compensation, and they demand that this warlord be dealt with, and they once again ask to bring this forward to the High Council so that they can address the Chancellor. And of course, Gorkon is in the chamber as well, not as Chancellor but as the leader of his house. So he is not the Chancellor here and now. He needs to accept the Federation ambassadors to the High Council to take on that role. But the chamber does not appear to be forthcoming to the Federation ambassadors on this topic. Instead, Chang steps forward and walks out onto the floor and asks the Federation ambassadors if the Federation intends to do anything about it. Will the Federation just let this Klingon warlord walk over them and kill Tellarite citizens without doing anything about it? Perhaps the Tellarites themselves will stand up against the Klingon lord. Will the Tellarites stand up against this aggression? Will they fight for their honor? Will they avenge their dead? And the Federation ambassadors, they begin to see where Chang is going. So they're saying that, yes, if this continues, then eventually the Federation has to respond. The Tellarites will have to respond. And when they're talking in this manner, you can get a sense that the assembly, the gathering of Klingon lords, they pick up on this. They get interested where this might be heading. The Federation ambassadors, they turn and address all the Klingons, and the Klingons are leaning forward, listening, because the Federation ambassadors, now they have their attention when they say that this could lead to armed conflict, that this could end with the Federation and Starfleet having to deal with the Klingon household in question, maybe even other households down the line. And this is something that they want to avoid. But if there is no justice done here today, or if they are not allowed to seek justice, then what other option is there than this massive unnecessary bloodshed? And the Klingons, they're now looking at each other nodding, because the Federation ambassadors, now they sense that the Klingons are actually listening to them. This is when Kang makes himself known and enters the floor and asks if the Tellarites will fight on their own, something the ambassadors are hesitant to answer. Kang continues and asks if the Tellarites will be aided by Starfleet in this quest. For if Starfleet fights a Klingon house, then that house can call upon aid from the Lord of War, in this instance Chang, who is the Lord of War of the Klingon Empire, the War Master serving next to Gorkon on the High Council. And if that were to be the case, well, then the Lord of War can muster 2/3 of all warriors in the Klingon Empire to fight this invading force, and it will be a glorious battle, a glorious war with honor to be had by everyone. And Kang addresses the council, and the Klingons are now excited about this prospect. And Kang gets their blood boiling with this speech about this huge battle between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. This is, of course, something that the Federation ambassadors are not interested in, and they are quickly backing down. And having a grand war of this magnitude is something they are not interested in it. And if they are not allowed an audience with the Chancellor and the High Council, they will take their leave and they will pursue justice in some other way. And the Federation ambassadors, they leave, and all the Klingons in the assembly, they frown and they are upset and dismayed even, and some of them call out Petak and other abusive words over the Federation ambassadors. And as the Federation ambassadors turn to leave the Imperial gathering, Kang turns around and looks at Chang, and Chang theatrically applauds Kang from a distance. And as Kang begins to leave the floor, then Chang toasts to him from a distance, smiling charmingly as Kang makes his way back to his seat. The Federation ambassadors, they leave the building, and they are dismayed and upset, and cursing the Klingons for being all about brutality and warfare, and that there is no way they can get justice from this corrupt society. And that is when Dax catches up to them, runs after them and catches up to them, and talks to them, and explains that they almost had the Klingons, they almost managed to get the Klingons to listen to them and respect them. And the Federation ambassadors, they don't really understand, because all they did was threaten with war, threaten with more violence, and that is all the Klingons understand. They're uncivilized or barbarians. But Dax explains, no, they did not issue threats of violence. They showed courage. To the Klingons saw them standing up for the slain, standing up for the victims. That they showed the Klingons that the Federation was showing courage at the face of their enemy. And that would have spoken to the Klingons, and that would have allowed the Federation ambassadors to gain access to the High Council and talk with Chancellor Gowron. Dax also explains that Kang stepped in to avoid a war with the Federation. What he did was give the Federation a chance to step out of the situation before ending up in the High Council, because in the High Council, then there Chang would have been given the opportunity to start a war, proper war with the Federation. He would have been able to derail the discussion, the negotiations, and forcing the Federation to not have any other choice but to either back away completely as cowards, which would have allowed Chang to start a war, or if the Federation had said that there is no other option than increasing hostilities, then again Chang could have had his war as well. So Dax explains to the Federation that what Kang did, he did to avoid this war, because Kang, he wants war elsewhere with other factions. He does not want to waste Klingon resources on a war with the Federation at this point in time.
Today's a good day to die. My dak malenta, Jagmei wik kaume. Nu ilutach visma monsobe, mivnisbe kuswi chavyash. My dak mahavad lulachas wi chopfu hachtino kopom mashe. Chowe wi pom mama hilchu. Jachoch diho. My dak malenta, Jagmei wik kaume. Da yach heglume. Onward to battle we fly, to vanquish our foes. With weapon in hand, we will not falter. We will stand firm, we will gain glory on the battlefield. We prove our worth, in death we earn our fame. For glory we charge. Shall be slain. Onwards to battle we fly, to vanquish our foes. Today's a good day to die. My dak malenta, Jagmei wik kaume. Nu ilutach visma monsobe, mivnisbe koswi chavyash. My dak mavad Shwi khoftu khopin babong mashe. Khube wi bong mama hilchu. Yachoch diho. My dak malenta, Jagmei wik taume. Da ya shegel